guys, it's Emma, and I'm back today for you with another video. And today we are doing a continuation of the series that I have always, wanted to continue. It is basically where I do a video mostly every October, I would say, that deals with spooky stuff in books. Like, for example, the first year that I did it, I think it was just scary books in general, and then the next year that I did it, I did werewolf books. Today, we're doing vamps, baby! I have read quite a few vampire books in my time. I've watched quite a few vampire movies. And while they're not my favorite, they're definitely up there, honeycombs. Okay, so basically these are going to be books that have vampires as main characters or vampires as side characters. Either way, vampires will be in these books. Before we start, actually, I would really appreciate it if you guys would go down in the description box to look at all of the links that I have there. And then also down in the comment section below, let me know whether or not you guys have read these books, whether you guys like vampires in books or not, and also if you guys could give me some new vampire book recommendations, I would really appreciate that, okay? Because I found I'm very, very picky when it comes to vampire books. Werewolf books, not so much. Probably because I'm biased and I'll, eat any werewolf material up. But vampire books, I'm picky. I'm very picky. But anyway, let's get right into it. The first book that I would like to recommend to you guys that has vampires in it is Elatsoe by Darcie Little Badger. This is set in an America that did not oppress, repress all the damn presses, their indigenous cultures, and so they have embraced all of the legends, the folklore, the poetry, the creatures, and the knowledge of its indigenous peoples and its peoples that aren't indigenous. So we follow Elatsoe, a Lipan Apache girl who can raise ghosts. It's been passed down matriarchally. I don't know if that's a word it is today, but it's been passed down through all of the women in her family. And one day her cousin is murdered and she has to figure out who murdered him in order to put his soul to rest before his ghost becomes malevolent. Now, this book not only is a vampire book, but this is also an LGBTQ+ representation book, all right, because Elatsoe is asexual. I gave this book 4 stars, all right. I just loved it. The vampirism in this book is seen more as a disease almost. You don't really survive being a vampire that long. There's a part in here where Elatsoe and her mother are driving around basically trying to find the house of the guy that they think murdered her cousin. They come upon a vampire, and in this book they also use the whole thing of vampires cannot touch you if you do not invite them in, and there's a part in here where they meet a vampire that is going to kill them, and Elatsoe's mother basically tells him, "You are not welcome here. This was my people's land before you ever came here. You are not welcome here." And that sends the vampire flying, and I was living for it. Not only is this a vampiric book, but it also has some really cool Native American folktales in here, and just, I don't know, it was really, really, really freaking cool to see Elatsoe and Apache representation, not only with the folktale, but also with the traditions and also the ghost lands that we see in here. Oh, it was just so cool. If you like paranormal books that are very fast and easy to get through, definitely pick up Elatsoe. The next one that I want to recommend to you guys is Interview with the Vampire and the subsequent series by Anne Rice. Interview with the Vampire is about this man named Louis who is severely depressed, and he meets this vampire named Lestat, and Lestat is very interested in Louis because Lestat is a few centuries old, and he's just interested in my man's Louis. And what happens is Lestat changes Louis into a vampire. Therefore ensues shenanigans upon tomfoolery that may thrust upon Louis the existential crisis of, is it bad or good to be a vampire? Can vampires be good, or are vampires inherently bad? Interview with a Vampire specifically, which I gave 4 stars to. This is the first book in the series, is the first one I read, and it also has a movie of the same name. This one is not like most vampire books that I've read, because this one is more drenched in just pure existentialism, all right? Because it really is Louis having to battle himself, thinking, can I ever be a good person who just happens to be a vampire? Or because I'm a vampire and have to feed on the blood of other living creatures, does that automatically make me a bad person? And it was really dark, it was really gloomy, it was really creepy at some points. If you have a thing with silhouettes like me, if you like being creeped out by silhouettes, this is definitely for you. Another thing that I really loved about this series is the fact that it introduced the idea of vampires being so old, being immortal, that the idea of sexuality really isn't as concrete as it would be for us. Lestat and Louis, I guess, you can make the argument that they are gay, but it really is more just a thing of, even if Lestat and Louis are gay, Lestat really just keeps Louis around and gloms onto Louis so much because Louis makes him feel emotions again. There's really no set idea of sexualities, I guess. It's really just a thing of, do you make me feel good? I also read The Vampire Lestat, which is the second book. I liked it enough. I gave it 3 stars, not as much as I liked Interview with a Vampire. So I would say that if you are interested in existential crisis having vampires and sincerely gothic vampire books, I would definitely go for Interview with a Vampire. The next book that I want to talk to you guys about is Carmilla by Joseph Sheridan Fanu. I gave this one 3 stars. I was surprised to find out that this book, Carmilla, actually predates Dracula by 25, 26 years. It is so good, all right? It also implies that there's not really a strict sexuality here. There's really just predator and prey. At least that's how I interpreted this. It's all about this daughter and her father, and they find this woman and they invite her into their castle because she's sickly. She doesn't really come out during the day, and she and the daughter strike up a really intense bond, and they find out that it is in fact Carmilla. And this story was just really, really interesting. I believe it's also Gothic. I believe, don't quote me on that, but it was just really interesting to see that a vampire story that, in my opinion, is worth more of a read than Dracula is just lengthwise. Carmilla's pretty damn short, and just, I don't know, it was really interesting to see the hold that Carmilla has over the female main character and how Carmilla kind of uses that to her advantage. I would say that if you're looking for a classic vampire story to read other than Dracula, definitely go for Carmilla. All right, this next one may not entertain a few people or may not intrigue a few people, but that is okay as long as it intrigues one person. I've done my day's work. And that book is A Lady of Rooksgrave Manor by Kathryn Moon. This is about a girl named Esther who leaves her job as a maid in order to work at this manor that houses women who service monsters. This is a reverse harem monster lovers romance, and let me just say, this bitch is probably one of my favorite books I've read all this year. All right, this book is one of the best reverse harems I've ever read. It is the best monster lover book I've ever read. It is just so good. Esther, I loved her. She's not ashamed of the fact that even though this is like set in the Victorian era and women were supposed to be chaste and modest and covered up, Esther is unabashedly sexy. Esther is unabashedly sexual. I think there are 5 different monsters that are a part of her harem. We get a vampire, obviously a French vampire, which he's my favorite. I love him so much. It's not even funny how much leverage August has over me. It's not even funny. All right, we meet a sphinx, a golem, an invisible man, and a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde character, which I thought was really interesting, all right, because we rarely see Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde characters, let alone just Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde retellings, okay? So I loved this. It was steamy, it was sexy, it had a good ass plot too. So if you're looking for a new reverse harem or a new monster lovers book to read, Lady of Rooksgrave Manor is so good, all right? And Esther is just such a lovable character for me. The next vampiric book that I want to recommend to you guys is Certain Dark Things by Silvia Moreno-Garcia. This is about Atul, who is descended from the Aztec blood drinkers of old, and she is on the run from these other vampires who basically want her and her entire family dead. And she teams up with this human named Domingo in order to basically survive and get out of Mexico City. I gave this one 3 stars. I loved the world building and the lore in this book, all right? Because Silvia Moreno-Garcia gives us like an index in the back full of all of the vampire breeds that we get in this book. It's pretty short too. And just, I don't know, the world building of how Mexico City in our day gets to how it is in this book. All the different vampire clans, what each clan like has power over, what Atul can do, how they differ in like weaknesses and strengths. It was just so interesting to learn about all these different vampire clans. I would say that if you're a fan of Underworld and Night Teeth with maybe a sprinkle of Queen of the South, you would definitely really like this book. Next one we have is Fangs by Sarah Andersen. This is a really short graphic novel about a vampire and a werewolf who are dating. It's not really gory, it's not violent, it's not angsty, it's just really, really cute. All right, I gave it 3 stars. It's the drawings are really cute. The banter between the two of them is really adorable. It's just about them basically trying to figure out how to date one another, and like with each other being so different as they are. There's one picture in here, I think, that has her sleeping in her coffin and him as a wolf sleeping in the coffin with her. It was so cute. Okay, so this one's really short. Just if you're looking for a really cute, really fluffy, romantic, also vampiric piece, definitely pick up Fangs. The next one that we have is also called Fangs, but this one is a manga. Fangs is about this young man named N who has been turned into a vampire very gruesomely, and he is found by this police force. And this police force basically keeps in check all of the vampires of this world. And he's found by Ichi and is taken under the wing of him, and they basically form a blood pairing to where they can feed off of one another and basically let out all of their urges on each other instead of letting it out on innocent people. I gave this 4 stars. All right, this is a new manga series, I believe, because the second one just came out and I need it like right now. It is so good. Gay vampires, modern day Lestat and Louis. All right, if like the LGBTQ aspect was more defined in Interview with a Vampire, it's graphic. I would say if you're a younger person, maybe check the trigger warnings and the content warnings for this because it is graphic in more ways than one. But yeah, this is just so good. It's honestly drawn, I would say, at least the style reminds me of Vampire Night. If you guys were unfortunate enough, like me, to watch that anime, the style was beautiful, but the story, holy shit, needed to be scrapped, honeycomb. I would say that if you're a fan of Interview with a Vampire, Fangs would be for you. And also if you're looking for a new manga to start, definitely pick up Fangs. Okay, it's so much fun. The last one that we have is another manga, and that's Devil's Line by Ryo Hanada. This is a manga series about, again, our world, where there's also a vampiric police force. Oh wow, I never really even noticed that. But basically there's this girl named Tsukasa who is about to be attacked by a vampire, but she's saved by Anzai, who is a vampire on this vampiric police task force that keeps track of all of these vampires that are created in order to keep them from harming humans, and if they do harm humans, they kill them. So basically Anzai now forms a connection with Tsukasa after saving her, and she also forms a connection with him, and it's just all about him trying to protect her. Oh, I also gave this one 4 stars, okay? This was so good. I heard so many good things about the anime, which I've got saved on Hulu. So Hulu, Honeycomb, you just got a new regular. It's got the bodyguard trope, which if you've been on my channel for as long as I think it would require you to, you guys would know that I am a die-hard fanatic, a zealot, one might say, of the bodyguard trope. There's just something about it. The guardian trope, the bodyguard trope, whether there be romance or not, I don't care. I eat it up. That runs rampant in here. I would say that if you're looking for a monster lovers plus a bodyguard trope manga that is short, because if you're like me and you go for a manga series, or you try to start manga series that don't have 45,000 volumes, I'm sorry, Fairy Tail, I love you with all my heart, but that's just not gonna happen. Then if that is you, if that applies to you, then definitely pick up Devil's Line. All right, it is so good. It's got a short series span, and it's just really gritty and angsty and a little bit sexy, okay? So, loved her. So you guys, those were all of the vampiric book recommendations that I have for you guys so far, all right? If I go down to this comment section and I find some more vampire books, rest assured that that I might make another part 2. I probably will make a part 2 on that werewolf book video, all right? Just mainly because I'm reading a lot more werewolf books. I'm finding more, thank the Lord, but with that being said, you guys, I hope that you enjoyed. I hope that you'll be able to pick up some of these vampire books that I recommend. I hope you like them as well. And I hope that you guys are staying safe and that you guys have a good rest of your day. Goodbye.